Gerald and I played a lot of ball together, I would say from the ages of 14 to 18, 19. I remember seeing Gerald for the first time, and back then he seemed like he was about 7 feet tall and made up of all legs and arms, which is certainly a good asset for a fastball pitcher. And you could tell right away that once he matured and developed and grew into his body, he would certainly be a dominant force.
The first time I met Gerald, Tom Doucette had called me. I had already gone through the Canada Games program. Gerald had already made the Canada Games team for Nova Scotia. Tommy was still the coach of the program then, so he asked me to come and look at the pitchers, work with them. So here's this tall, lanky kid. I think the first thing I said to him was, "Wow, you have the pitcher's build." Had a chance to work with him that day. I never forget how hard he was dragging his toe, and of course I crow hopped a little bit. So I don't know if I was the first one to introduce him to the crow hop, but I hopefully helped his career along.
Being a catcher, you form a relationship with the pitchers, and you need to get to know their go-to pitches and what they like to throw at different times. Gerald threw what we call a heavy ball. There was many nights I came home with a sore hand for sure. He threw hard down, and he was certainly a good mix at the Canada Games team, where our second pitcher was a lefty by the name of Steve Johnson from EHSHOF. So they were a great 1-2 combination. Possibly the best in the country at that time, just because they were so different in terms of how they attacked hitters.
The other thing with Gerald that jumps out for me is just a competitor. He wanted the ball, and the bigger the game was, the more he wanted the ball. I've seen him when he got the ball in the big game and always clutch. I've seen him when he didn't get the ball in the big game and he wanted to stay out of his way. Just a true competitor and the type of teammate that you enjoy playing with.
These are all proud sponsors of the 1998 Senior Men's Canadian Fast Pitch Championships being held right here at St. Croix, Hants County, Nova Scotia. Look at all the people here, Cecil. There's got to be 5,000 people here today.
Minimum 5,000. I'd say closer to 6.
I'm sure there's lots of people in the audience that came from East Hants to watch Gerald Muizelaar pitch. He'd have a lot of fans in the audience as well. Both teams do, actually.
1998 was when the Halifax Windsor Keys hosted the Senior Men's Canadians in St. Croix, which is 30 minutes from where I live. And my dad, who was always played fastball for as long as I could remember at that time, took me to watch this big pitcher named Gerald Muizelaar. And I went and sat behind the backstop, and I remember looking at my dad and asking my dad how the catcher caught the ball.
The 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 call on the inside corner at the knees.
Because I had no idea how it was possible. It was the fastest thing I had ever seen at that point, and it piqued my interest. I fell in love with it.
What a ball game. So 2-2 to Laurie Barron. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Struck him out to end the ball game. The Halifax Jaguars are the 1998 Canadian Men's Senior Fast Pitch Champions.
Around the 4th inning, it came around a bit and started to get a little more snap on the ball, and things just rolled from there. We played great. The guys just played amazing today, the whole week.
Unfortunately, I was on the wrong side of the Halifax Jaguars, Halifax Keys national final in St. Croix. That's as strong as I've ever seen Gerald on the national stage. So obviously, I was on the wrong side of it, but now I look back and reflect. He had a great day that day and carried a strong team to a national championship.
What Gerald did once he started playing senior ball locally, that's when I actually started playing against Gerald and didn't get a chance to catch him, but had to try and hit off him, which was a daunting task most nights. What he did from that point on was just a great accomplishment. He accomplished some things here in Canada, but then also on U.S. soil and on the international stage, and just continued on that long tradition of East Hants born players having a lot of success in fastball.
Joe was just such a great athlete, and obviously that came from his time in East Hants minor sports, minor ball. Throughout his years with the Halifax Keys, Halifax Jaguars, playing senior Fall Canada Games in Nova Scotia. So certainly the development was here. He did move to the U.S. eventually, meet his wife Flora there, and became a part of the national team program in the U.S., which is a bit of a unique situation, unique scenario, but I like to hope that he enjoyed his years with Team Canada more, but excelled with both countries at the international level for sure.
Unbelievable scenes here in Christchurch at the smoke-free ballpark. We are set. Matchup, the last game of the World Softball Championships between New Zealand and Canada. Here's the Muizelaar, very impressive numbers, 14 innings, 6 hits, only 1 earned run so far in this tournament. Walked 3, struck out 16. They certainly didn't hop as far on that one. There we see jumping, leaving the ground, Muizelaar.
When you talk about the International Softball Congress and the tournaments that are played down there, it's really, I guess, comparable to the Stanley Cup in hockey. You know, the best players from around the world end up at that event. And to be, when he was at the top of his game, to be in the top tier of those competitors just shows what he matured into and what he accomplished as an athlete in fastball. There's not a lot of guys that can say that they've accomplished what he's done, let alone in Canada. You know, not just speaking about people in East Hants, but his accomplishments are certainly something to be proud of.
For us, the ISC was the gold standard. That was our Super Bowl for club teams, and Gerald certainly had an amazing ISC career, consecutive wins, all worlds. Top pitcher and world champion in the same year, which not too many of us get to say that. So Gerald just had a fantastic ISC career, and once again, I just think that's where Gerald really excelled the most, is at the ISC level, playing with Broken Bow, Nebraska.
When I was still trying to follow Gerald as a teenager, the topic of best pitcher in the world comes up often, and Gerald's name was always in the conversation. And even when I didn't get to see him pitch for many years, I still was being informed that Gerald Muizelaar from Shubenacadie is the best pitcher in the world.
I do know that with the fierce competitor that he is, and the amount of things that and championships that he's won and teams that he's been a part of, that doesn't happen without a great deal of hard work, without a lot of passion for the game. And to my knowledge, I believe he was playing as recently as last year, you know, as in his early 40s.
In 2015, I went to Las Vegas to pitch in a tournament in April, and Gerald was really preparing for the World Championships and for the Pan American Games, so you could tell he was really gearing up. And I got to pitch against him in a game when I was playing down there, and that for me was really neat, because it was a guy that he was the first pitcher I ever seen. It was a guy that I always followed and idolized a little bit. To you know, this guy's the best in the world, and he's from Nova Scotia. He played on the same diamonds that you're playing on, and then you're sharing the pitcher's mat with him. So for me, that was a pretty neat moment in my career, to get to share pitcher's mat with Gerald Muizelaar all those years later, after I watched him as a little boy chasing foul balls and being in awe behind the backstop in St. Croix in 1998.
We have a lot of good athletes, and have had a lot of good athletes, and will continue to have good athletes coming out of our area. So, you know, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, what separates him from other ball players? To play at the level he played at, and to not only play but to win, is really the separation. You know, he was able to accomplish a lot of things where people can say they participated in, but he was truly at the top of his game during that era when he was in his true form. And to actually accomplish what he did during the time when fastball was still fairly prominent just speaks volumes to his accomplishments.
2017 East Hants Sport Hall of Fame inductee, Gerald Muizelaar.